Hello, my name is Dianne Smith, and I will be talking about social influence. It is hard to find behaviors that are not in some way affected by exposure to the action of others. When social psychologists talk of conformity, they specifically refer to the tendency of people to change their perceptions, opinions, and behavior in ways that are consistent with group norms. Kaysen gives two examples, and one is when you attend a formal wedding, you dress accordingly. You don't show up in blue jeans with holes in them and a crazy looking t shirt because it is not appropriate and it will not be out of the norm for the guests. Well, it will be out of the norm for the guests and others that are in attendance. So you're going to conform to your surrounding, to the others around you. After all, it's a formal wedding. Another good example that he gives is, for instance, if you're at a sporting event, like a football game, and during the national anthem, you would not remain seated. But guess why? Well, you're supposed to stand because that's what you do during the national anthem, and the others around you are standing, so you're going to stand also. You're going to conform to the others around you. Okay, so why do people conform? Well, according to Kaysen, people conform for two reasons. They have a need to be right, and this is called the informational influence. Here the people are looking for the right answers. So they conform to collective wisdom of large numbers of other people. Then there is the second reason, out of fear of ostracism. This is in contrast to the informational values of conformity. Normative influence is what it's called. Normative influence. This leads people to conform because they fear the consequences of rejection that follows deviance. It's easy to see why this happens. Well, early on, research showed that individuals who stray from a group's norm tend to be disliked. They tend to be rejected, they tend to be ridiculed, and outright dismissed. Although some people are more resilient than others. These forms of interpersonal rejections can be hard to take, according to Kaysen, 2017. That is why so many times adolescents conform to others in a group when it comes to unhealthy drinking. According to Rees and Wallace, the social life of an adolescent is often better if he or she conforms because failure to do so risk ostracism from the group. So in these groups, the I becomes we as adolescents become concerned with us instead of me. So they're conforming to their friends. In a series of controlled experiments, people who were socially ostracized, for example, by being neglected, ignored, and excluded in a live or online chat room conversation reacted with various types of emotional distress, feeling alone, hurt, angry, and lacking in self esteem. That's according to our textbook, Kaysen. Now, there are two types of conformity, and one is called private conformity. This is called true acceptance or conversion. It describes instances in which others cause us to change not only our overt behavior, but our minds as well. To conform at this level is to be truly persuaded that others in a group are correct. And the second one is public conformity. This is in contrast to the private conformity, sometimes called compliance, and it refers to a more superficial change in behavior. People often respond to normative pressures by pretending to agree even when privately they do not. This often happens when we want to carry favor with others. A good example is a politician who tells his voters whatever they want to hear. I know we're all familiar with that. Now that's according to case 20 also. Okay. Okay. Now, majority influence, according to Casey, this is basically just peer pressure. The larger the group, the more the pressure. Then there's minority influence, according to Casey. This is withstanding the pressure of others and keeping one's own opinion about matters, which may be socially difficult, but very much possible. Standing your ground. Okay? Now, what is compliance? According to Kaysen, another form of social influence is compliance. This occurs when others make direct requests. Again, a direct request of us in the hope that we will comply. Now, situations that call for compliance take many forms. These include a friend's plea for help, sheepishly prefaced by the question, "Can you do me a favor?" They also include the pop-up ads on the internet designed to lure you into a commercial site and the salesperson's pitch for business prefaced by the dangerous words, "Have I got a deal for you?" Sometimes the request is upfront or direct. What you see is what you get. At other times, it is part of a subtle and more elaborate manipulation. Okay? Now, what is a group? A group is characterized by a set of individuals who have direct interaction with each other over a period of time and share a common fate, identity, or set of goals. A group can also consist of people who have joint membership in a social category based on sex, race, or other attributes. Okay? Now, what is the black sheep effect? Sometimes one member of the group may deviate from the norm. Now, a lot of us have family members that we call the black sheep of the family, and they been taught one thing growing up and they deviate from what they've been taught. And as much as a group member can be disposed to show favoritism and leniency towards a fellow and group member, they are also apt to display harsher treatment towards one of their own whose actions bring negative attention to the group. This is known as the black sheep effect. Now, in conclusion, what is the difference between conformity and compliance? I want you to answer that question for me. And also, how does our Christianity affect which group we identify with? Using the scripture at 1 Corinthians 15:33, do not be misled. Bad associations spoil useful habits. So if you will, think about those two questions and answer those two questions for me. I'm just curious to see what you got to say. Okay. All right then. And so thank you for listening today. Bye-bye.